missing. But David Fox's ball club comes in 9-0 against a Glendale Falcon bunch who's 10-2 and coming off of...
Expect to see the same thing.
13 turnovers for the Jays, 9 for the Falcons. Here come the visitors. Glasper off his hands, down to Arbishon. Bank shot won't go. Chuck Glasper with the tip. That is Brian Center, and he put it in. So the third time was the charm.
Well, there we bragged about how the Falcons maintained and got their share of the boards, and then really got beaten badly inside that time.
5 starters back out there for the Falcons. That is Forbacher. And the rebound will go to Chuck Glasper. 22-17, Glendale by 5. Brian Center on the ring, cross court to Chuck Glasper. He'll shoot from just inside three-point land. And Brian Groh will get the rebound. It's Groh, Price, Foley, Forbacher, and Stinger. Kenny Price had it. He'll get it to Foley. Up in traffic, and Brian Center stripped him.
Yeah, stripped him clean, too.
Here come the Jays. Glasper has it after what we thought was an obvious walking call. Arbishon will turn and shoot, miss everything.
Missed it all, and back come the Falcons. So they've been able to get a couple of breaks on the defense.
And they need Justin Foley in there.
Yeah, Foley makes a big difference. He's got some bulk and some size.
Brian Groh from NBA three-point land.
He's got 14 points.
4 from beyond the arc.
You know, I don't know how the high schools go about keeping shooting records, but boy, when Groh leaves, it'll be hard for someone to come along and outshoot him from three-point range.
Glasper missed it. Griffin puts it back up, and that will count. There go the Falcons. Kenny Price missed the layup. Mike Keltner didn't like that at all.
Well, I don't think he liked the way that Price finished. He got up, did not go to the basket. He was falling away from it.
Jays have it. Glasper to Glasper right there.
And the one thing we have not seen the Jays do is launch from long range.
Inside to Arbishon, right-handed layup. I don't think they're used to it. With Monty Harge in there, they're an inside-oriented ball club.
Yeah.
Forbacher has it in the corner. To Stinger. He'll shoot.
Oh, they only gave him 2. Said he had a foot on the line.
27-21. The lead is 6. 5.5 to play in the third quarter. The Falcons have led wire to wire. Center, there's the 3.
Not even close. Boy, great steal. Great steal by Telly Griffin, excuse me.
Down low to Glasper, and he'll bank it in.
Chuck Glasper scored.
Not what the Falcons wanted on that defensive series.
Well,
the lead is down to 4.
Get a travel against Stinger. Here you had a first half that only had 22 points scored in it, and these are 22 and 15, and these two are off and racing here.
Foley out, Galindo in. You caught a fleeting glance of David Fox, and you hear players who were active before the three-point shot came in, and they say, yeah, if I was out there, I could have stuck a 3. David Fox could. He could shoot. Shot is long. Offensive foul from Telly Griffin.
And that's number 4 on him, blocking out the call, and so Griffin probably is going to have to sit.
That's his 4th. Chuck
Glasper comes back in. David Fox, if you weren't with us in the first half, played at Columbia Rockbridge. He was starting guard on that team.
Still the press employed by the Jays. And again, Kenny Price and not Stu Stinger bringing the ball down, and now you get a block on Galindo.
And to me, without benefit of instant replay, that was a legal screen.
But Galindo was sitting there. They said, I'm thinking that the official said he may have kicked the leg out, but I was looking away at the time.
That is his second foul. 4:40 to go in the third. Falcons on defense, clinging to a 4-point advantage. Glasper to Glasper once again. Price watches him. Gives it off to his brother.
Good pressure by Kenny Price out there. Almost forced the turnover.
They'll go to the corner. Now back to the point to LaRue again against Forbacher.
Falcons have sealed the middle up pretty good. They're not getting the ball in as easily as they were in the first half.
And the Jays aren't moving very much down low either. There goes center to the house, and he'll miss, but got fouled.
And I think Galindo's going to pick up his third. Galindo was along, good break, good penetration along the baseline that time.
Pushing foul on 50 Galindo. That's his third.
So center is going to get a chance to go to the line and toss in a couple and maybe pull this thing to within a 2-point ball game.
Center's 2 for 2 from the line. He has 8 on the night. The junior from Jefferson City misses the first. Galindo and Justin Foley had 3 fouls. Stanley Griffin with 4 for Brian LaRue out there, number 31. He has 3. The second one was short, and Kenny Price will get the rebound.
Well, with Foley and Galindo in foul trouble, it's a far more serious situation. You lose those two, and the Falcons really have no inside game to speak of.
Brian Grow has it. That's Galindo. Down to Grow. LaRue watches him. Brian finds a way to get the shot off, and he missed it. Lead pass from Glasper to Glasper. That is Chris, and he misses short. Grow will run it down.
Stinger able to kind of mess him up just enough to alter the shot.
Kenny Price has it to Stinger at the point. Off to Galindo. 3.5 to play in the third. Still a 4-point Falcon advantage. Forbacher harassed. Finds Price. To Stinger.
Well, after the two came out of the gate to start the second half scoring like crazy, they both slowed down just a bit. And now you get a foul against Chuck Glasper, his second.
Partially blocked the shot and got Forbacher with the body.
Forbacher has just 5 points tonight. He'll have a chance to up that to 7 when he steps to the line.
As you get a look at Jefferson City coach David Fox. Tommy Boston will check in. He will give Chris Glasper a break. We saw Boston come in for probably about 3 minutes in the first half, just enough time to make 2 turnovers, and he went back to the bench. Forbacher is 2 for 2. Make it 3 for 3. Second one, make it 4 for 4. 29-23. The lead is 6. It was 7 at halftime. There's center for 3. Short. Grow will grab the rebound.
Boy, here's what you like, a club full of rebounding guards.
Let's see if they can take advantage. This is a big possession right here. Jefferson City shot quickly after Glendale went to the foul line. Stinger will draw another foul on his way to the basket.
Well, that one's going to go against Boston. Going to be his second. And the Jays beginning to put a few players in a bit of foul trouble. Second on Boston now.
Here comes Kevin Schubert back in. We saw the junior for 3 different stretches in the first half. Arbashon will take a seat.
12 total, excuse me, more than 12. Would be 6, 8, 12, 15 total fouls on the Jays.
Kenny Price off the end.
Not finish on it. Great move, great elevation, just couldn't finish.
Boston has it. Wide open is LaRue. Now they'll go back to center.
Well, you knew if center stayed out there long enough, he's going to be able to knock down one of those long ones.
He has 11. Stinger with the answer.
Well, they say Forbacher or Stinger?
One or the other.
It was Forbacher. It was Forbacher.
Out of bounds to the Jays. All right.
Forbacher now with 10 points.
That's what happens when we both look down at the same time.
Well, you look at your scoring book and you don't pay attention to what's going on, and it happens so quickly. But another 3, that's the way you counter the opposition's threes. Come back and launch your own. Whoa.
Boston through the lane to the deck. No foul, and Grow will pull it away. Nice defense from the Falcons. Grow will bring it up.
Well, you said it a while ago. Very important possession. Maybe a little long for Grow.
Boston with the ill-advised pass out of bounds, and here comes Glasper back in.
Yeah, Coach Fox not happy with Boston's been doing for him out there. He gives him a hand, but he quickly brings back his starter. And here comes Foley with 1:50 to go in the third. Foley checks back in for the Falcons with his 3 personal fouls.
6-point game. the maintenance program continues, and the
substitutions do too.
yeah, Aubuchon back in for Schubert. Now perhaps both coaches have the matchup they wanted.
Well, I think the minute Fox saw Foley come back in for the Falcons, he felt he had to have Aubuchon back in there.
Inbound to Price. Jays so pressure. They have off every inbound situation so far. Stinger and Glasper resume their battle. That's Foley with it. To Stinger. To Grow. Down low. Foley was open for a moment. Pass was behind him, however.
Stinger.
Almost a steal.
Now Stinger momentarily had the 4-on-5 situation for the Falcons as Glasper had overplayed.
Off to Grow. That's Foley. A patient possession for the Falcons. Grow is open. He'll shoot for three, and it rimmed out. Price with a rebound, and he finished this time.
Kenny Price is finally on the board. Couldn't come at a bigger time for the Falcons.
34-26. Shot on the other end, no good. Foley with a big rebound. Baseball pass ahead to Price to the house. And there's Vorbacher. Count that. And David Fox gets off the bench and says, calm down.
Well,
just relax.
Poor Kenny Price just must be beside himself, wondering what he's got to do to get a finish on a basket.
40 seconds to play in the third. The lead is 10 for the Falcons. Smart move by David Fox to calm his team down.
Well, the worst thing would have been to come down and try to get a bucket back and find yourself down by 12, maybe, at the end of the quarter.
Obviously, Glasper is waiting for time to run down here.
Well, everybody catches their breath this way. They start moving pretty quick, though, with 15 seconds to go.
Lob down low for Aubuchon over Foley, and he missed it.
Oh, and they thought the
clock still has 5 seconds to go.
Maybe starting that move at 15 seconds worked out well for them. But if they don't get it back, the Falcons have a pretty legitimate shot at a basket here. 5 seconds to go.
Length of the floor. Jays pull the pressure back. Here comes Stinger.
3, 2, and 1. Let's see what happens.
Nope. 3 quarters are complete from Glendale. Falcons lead the #1 team in the state by 10. Don't go anywhere. Just in time for the fourth quarter. Jefferson City's 15-game winning streak is on the line here. They trail by 10.
Well, the Falcons, I don't know what they'll feel like they have to do, but if I'm them, I don't change a thing. Obviously, you don't set on it. You don't do anything. You come out and do what you've done for the first 3 quarters because it's been quite effective to this point, but do not count Jeff City out just yet.
Stu Stinger will have it. Stinger, Foley, Vorbacher, Price, and Grow, the starting 5 out there for the Falcons. That's Stinger in the baseline. Foley and Aubuchon are really going at it down low.
Well, that's a tight end working on a defensive end, I'll tell you right now.
Now Foley will spot for 3 and hit it. And Aubuchon's probably thinking, oops.
Oops, I gave a little too much ground.
And the lead is back to 13, biggest of the game.
Well, when it gets to 13, now if you're the Jays, you start to press just a little bit. You push yourself a little harder.
That is Brian Center. He's hit a 3 so far. Down low, Griffin in a double team, and he made it anyway.
Boy, great individual.
He split the double team and banked it off the board. We've played a minute in the final quarter. Vorbacher in center. Brad off to Kenny Price. Long range, too strong. Big battle for the rebound. And the Jays come away with it. Ahead to Glasper. Through the lane is LaRue. Off to Griffin again, and he'll make it again. Telly Griffin says, I don't care if I have 4 fouls. I'm ready to play now. A 9-point Falcon advantage. 6.5 to go in the ball game. That's Foley to Vorbacher. 4-3, too strong.
Yep, going to get a foul over the back. Either Grow or Price, one or the other. Over the top.
David Fox calls the play.
And it does go against Brian Grow.
That is Brian's second.
Well, A 13-point lead now down to 9 and potentially could get down inside 7 to 7, maybe 6.
We'll see what the sophomore Chris Glasper has in store for us as he dribbles across. He'll pass to LaRue. Down low, Griffin again. Count it and a foul.
Boy, Griffin has absolutely come alive here.
Into double figures with 10 now, and he'll go to the line.
Basket is good, they say, and the foul goes against Price. Kenny Price picks up his second, and now Mike Keltner wants timeout. 39-32, Falcons continue to lead, 6:19 to go. We'll take a timeout and be back for the rest of this ball game after this.
You get the impression that Mike Keltner didn't want the momentum to shift any further.
Boy, and it did, just in a heartbeat. And here you got a chance for that 7-point lead to slide on down to 6. And boy, Telly Griffin, the guy riding 4 fouls out there, playing like a guy that doesn't care about having 4 fouls.
Looking for his 11th point of the night and his 5th in about 15 seconds. And he gets it. 6-point advantage, still a long way to go as the Jays press. Kenny Price has it. Just over 6 minutes to play in the ball game.
Well, Falcons just need to regroup, do what they've been doing well, and find themselves also not in a pressure situation.
Stinger to Grow to Foley. Justin in trouble. Aubershon is all over him. Finally gets it to Forbacher just in time. Jeff City bench wanted double dribble. Stinger to Price. Kenny gives it back to Grow. Aubershon lost his man, Foley, for just a moment, but they couldn't get Justin the ball. That is Grow for 3.
Well, nothing will solve your problems any quicker than that. Grow gets him back up to a 9-point cushion.
That is his 5th three-pointer. 42-33. He has 17 on the night. The Jays pass it around, and Ryan LaRue walked. 15th turnover. And that is not what Jefferson City wanted out of that possession.
Well, especially after the other team knocks down the 3, you come back down and know you need to score, and you turn it back over.
We're at the 5-minute mark as Kenny Price dribbles. They give it to Stinger. Glasper watches him. Those two have gone at it toe-to-toe all night. Stinger through the lane. He'll shoot and hit it. Looked like Glasper might have had a hand on that.
I think he did. I don't think there's any question he deflected the ball. Stinger just had enough strength to push it on over.
The lead is back to 11. Griffin lost it, and he wanted a foul, but he's not going to get it. Yeah. Telly Griffin, definitely the most animated player out there.
Yeah, he's trying to help out the officials just a little bit.
That is center. He finally finds LaRue, who banks it in.
Ryan LaRue scored.
Good inbounds by the Jays that time.
That is his first 2 points, and it's a 9-point game. 4.5 left in it. The Falcons have led all the way. Looking for win number 11. Stinger. No. Rebound for LaRue, ahead to center. The Falcons get back. Glasper has it. Off to LaRue, to Telly Griffin. Through the lane, up, no, but he'll draw the foul. That would have counted.
Well, I'll tell you what Griffin has decided to do. Now, whether he's been instructed to do it or he's just doing it on his own, he's decided to just take matters into his own hands, and every time he catches the ball down low, there's no lookout for a pass. He's going straight on in.
Kenny Price will get his 3rd. 5th team foul.
Griffin at the line, 2 shots.
Griffin, a 6'3" junior, has played taller than that in the second half. He is 4 out of 4 from the line. Looking for point number 13 right here. And he gets it.
35, Chuck Glasper.
Well, he's brought him back in and kept them in the 4th quarter.
Chuck Glasper comes back in. Ryan LaRue will take a seat. 44-37 your score. Glendale by 7. 4:05 left. Again, the pressure. Foley to Stinger.
Got him wrapped up. Should be able to have him outnumbered here.
Ahead to Forbacher. The layup is good.
Well, the press looked good, but there's one thing about the press. If one person beats it and beats it badly, you should have them shorthanded on the other end, and the Falcons did just that.
Forbacher with 14 points now. Griffin holds it off to Glasper. 3.5 left. Lob down low for Abershon. Deflected and taken away.
Great deflection. Great look by Kenny Price that time. They were beaten down low, but Price recovered enough to get a hand up. Probably we'll see some pretty good patience maybe here by the Falcons. Maybe.
Brian Grow fakes Glasper out of his socks. That's his third.
Yeah. Glasper up and over the top. Still not at the bonus. Only the fourth. So each team has a foul or so that they can still kind of toy with here.
The Jay Bentz intense in your last photo there. Ball on the floor for a moment. Kenny Price will take it. Glasper almost swiped it. Stinger gets it to Forbacher.
Well, as they close in on the 3-minute mark now with a 9-point lead, I mean, you're not going to see a team of Mike Keltner sit there and hold the ball, but they can be extremely patient.
Abershon all over Foley. Nice pass down low. Forbacher, count it, and a foul. Brian Center picked up his second, perhaps the biggest play of the ball game.
Well, you've got Forbacher with 16 and Brian Grow with 17. That's a pretty good two-man scoring combination out there.
33 of the 48. Forbacher will go to the line. He is 4 for 4 from there.
One shot.
Mark him 5 for 5. The lead is 12. 2:50 to go.
And it could be close to panic time for the Jays.
Playing without their 7-foot center tonight. Monty Harge is back home with the flu.
And they have not shown a propensity for the long range shot tonight.
Glasper will pull up and hit it.
Chris Glasper scoring.
That's his first bucket of the night. Jefferson City calls timeout. 2:29 to go. That man will have to diagram some plays to bring his team back. Number 1 trails number 4 by 10.
Well, the Falcons find themselves in a situation now, Steve, where you can do one of two things. You can come out and you can continue to do what you've been doing for the last hour and a half, or you can sit on the ball. And I just said a while ago, I just don't think you'll see Mike Keltner diagram anything on the chalkboard that even remotely resembles sitting on the ball.
And on the other end, I think you'll see David Fox try to get his team to turn it up a notch defensively, try to force some things, and even if they do foul, make Glendale win it from the foul line.
Well, they'll make them go to the line. Yeah, that's going to happen. And you're going to see the ball in the hands of Stinger and Forbacher a lot, I think. Those are the free throw shooters that you probably want handling the ball. But who knows?
Glendale is 9 of 10 from the line tonight. They'll have to go the length of the floor against pressure. 2:29 to play. A 10-point advantage.
Well, Grow with the ball, runs around the screen. Now they beat it, and they're in here.
Stinger to Price.
Well, they kick it back out.
Stinger works the dribble. Glasper is all over him trying for the steal.
Well, you're right. They're in the face here.
There goes Foley with it. And there's your foul on Chris Glasper.
You know, Chris Glasper, as tightly as he has played Stu Stinger tonight, that's his first personal foul. Good discipline.
That's the matchup of the night, if you want to look at individuals so far.
Those two out front have dictated what happened the rest of the night, and those two just really went head-to-head.
Forbacher to inbound. Falcons still Not able to go for the 1-and-1s just yet. Justin Foley has it. Aubuchon comes out to guard him. And he got a hand in there. Nice play from the big guy, and then he had to foul him.
Well, there you see it as they go under the 2-minute mark. And I could have been completely wrong about my analysis of what Coach Keltner would do, but it looked like he really did have them pulled out. I think they still were working. There was a pattern being played there. That was not just hold the ball.
Foley will go to the line for the first time. He has one bucket, and it's a three-pointer. And the front end is no good, and Aubuchon will get the rebound.
Well, the Jays got what they wanted out of it.
And
clock stopped and no points given.
And the man with the ball who they want to have it, Telly Griffin, but he had to give it off to center, and he missed. Griffin hammered Forbacher, will get the rebound and put it in.
Timeout on the floor,
Timeout, Jefferson City. Griffin with 15 points and just snatched the rebound and grabbed Forbacher and threw him to the deck. 1:38 to go. Don't go anywhere. The Falcons still lead by 8. The Glendale bands enjoyed themselves so far. So is everybody.
Well, so far, you know, except there's a group of red and black dressed folks across the way over there that haven't liked what they've seen so far, and they've got 1:38 left to try to trim down an 8-point lead.
Brian Groh to Stinger inbound. Back to Groh. Falcons are in the bonus now. Keep that in mind. Groh with a hook pass stolen by Brian Center. 1:25 to play. The Jays with the ball down by 8. Glasper down low for Telly Griffin. Forbacher got in there to slap it away.
Boy, I'll tell you, Telly Griffin has been the go-to guy. I mean, if they haven't gone to him, he just went on his own, and they got it down low to him one more time, and Forbacher prevented what could have been an easy layup.
There's Griffin to Glasper. Back over to Center in the corner. 1:13. The three is long. Forbacher will get the rebound.
Well, and now the Jays have to pull back. They can't force. They got to pick them up at half court, and now the Falcons will run the clock.
1 minute to play. The Glendale lead is 8.
Well, Jays are going to have to reach in here, Steve.
And Tommy Boston will oblige. Aubuchon will come back in. That's Boston's third. Stinger will go to the line.
Fouls number 13, Tommy Boston. That's his third. 51, Aubuchon.
Well, you bring Aubuchon back in for the rebound. Kind of do some substituting maybe on each time out on the floor. But Stinger has a chance here to. It's now an 8-point game. If Stinger knocks both of these down, it becomes a 4-possession minimum for the Jays.
There's one. Stu has 7.
Please stay back from the playing surface.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Falcon faithful are ready to mob this team if they get the opportunity.
There's 2, and the lead is 10. Here come the Jays. Glasper has it stolen away. Stu Stinger with the fast hands. Groh gets fouled in the backcourt.
Well, Stinger gets credit for getting his hands in there. Everybody did. I believe Aubuchon guilty of the foul.
That is his third. Groh will go to the line. Brian Groh has knocked down 5 3-pointers. This is his first trip to the stripe. And he missed the front end of the 1-and-1. 40 seconds to play. Still a 10-point advantage. Griffin, you know where that's going to end up.
Going to call the block down low. Probably a good call. I don't think Foley was set. Well, now all the officials now are helping the officials. But Griffin will go to the line, and he'll shoot a couple here. He has 15. 34 seconds in a 10-point game.
And that is Foley's 4th foul. Telly Griffin perfect from the free throw line. 5 out of 5.
Well, there's the first thing that Griffin's done wrong in about the last half hour. And
it comes as a big time. 34 seconds left. He'll get the second, and the Falcon lead is 9. Price has it in the backcourt. Center is all over him. And Bryan will get called for his third foul.
Well, that's really all the Jays are left to be able to do right now. They're down 9, so that's 3 long point possessions there, and you can only hope to send them to the line, get them to miss.
And the chant comes from the Glendale student section, who's number 1?
Well, it does present an interesting scenario. Falcons lose earlier in the week. They're number 4 ranking in jeopardy, and now you come back and beat number 1, albeit minus a pretty big factor out there.
Yeah, there's a lot more open space out there on the floor tonight than there would have been. Price hits the first. Looking for his 4th point of the night. He gets it. 53-42. The lead is 11 with 30 seconds to go. That one missed everything. Bryan Grow has the rebound. And it looks like Telly Griffin will be asked to leave.
He knows he's gone. He knew he was gone. But boy, I'll tell you what, he put on a pretty good show in the 4th quarter. Showed his skills.
That's his 5th foul.
He had 2 points at halftime. He will foul out with 16. Chuck Glasper will return, one of the original starting 5. Down to 23 ticks on the clock. And the Glendale lead is 11.
Grow at the line.
Bryan Grow back at the line. He missed the front end of a 1-and-1 just a few moments ago.
He does it again. I'm telling you, he's only great from 19-9. No, he's a good ball player.
Center.
Wow.
From the parking lot.
Center from 3.
That's his second long-range bomb. 10 seconds to go. The crowd will count it down. And there goes the 15-game winning streak. The Glendale Falcons come back from Tuesday night's loss in a big way. 53-45 over the Jefferson City Jays.
Pretty impressive, Steve. Very impressive indeed.
We'll be back to wrap it up right after this. A celebration at Glendale. Number 4 is knocked off number 1. 53-45. They did it in style, leading throughout, sometimes in double digits, sometimes not. They fought off a couple of Jefferson City runs early in the second half, and they'll go to 11-2.
Well, and unfortunately, and really unfortunately, a lot of people are going to say, gee, what if the big man had been there for Jeff City? And that's about all it can be. I mean, you know, it's a what-if situation. There's a lot of what-ifs in sports, but on this particular night, the 5 that the Falcons put out there were just a little bit better than the 5 that the Jays had available to them. And so that's what matters at this particular point in the season. Both these teams have a long, long way to go. Falcons have got some pretty tough ones to go when they get back into conference play. And of course, Jeff City, even though they will fall probably from that top ranking, will find themselves the target of a lot of teams still.
No question about that, and they could be without the big man for a while. Coach Fox said before the ball game that he was going back to the doctor over the weekend, and he could have mononucleosis.
And that is a long, long period of time if a player is out that long. But tonight, the big men inside really weren't the story. It was those medium-sized, lanky guys outside shooting the long-range bombs for Glendale that made the big difference.
Bryan Grow had 5 from long range. He ended up with 17. Forbacher had a couple of three-pointers. He ended up with 17 also. And 34 of your 53 points from 2 guys. And Stu Stinger did his usual outstanding job running the team. And he had his hands full with the sophomore Chris Glasper tonight.
Yeah, and I imagine if you get Stu off to the side when the game is over, he'll tell you he probably appreciates the pressure he got, because a lot of times Stinger does not see an equal adversary across from him with the ball, and tonight he did, and it probably will only serve to make him a better point guard the rest of the season.
Game started out with 3 three-pointers going down for Glendale, and they went on from there, and that has to be the difference in this ballgame.
Well, I think you said an early tempo. They broke in front 9-2. 9-2, and the other team, I don't care how close that still sounds, there is a mindset with the other team, and I think the Jays knew it right there that there was going to be a lot of shooting going on, and they were going to have to try to counter. I thought they did a pretty good job, we mentioned several times, of playing well inside, but they didn't get shots to fall early. Of course, we've made mention of the fact they did not make a field goal in the first 8 minutes of the ball game, first quarter. They came back and made it a 13-4 game, then 22-15 at the half. Falcons had it back up to a 10-point lead at 36-26 after 3, and then go on and win this one by the final of 53-45. But I think the Jays kind of had an early indication that the Falcons were going to be able to do some of the things at long range they wanted to do.
Before the ball game, Coach Keltner said Tuesday night was not one of our better efforts. I think he would say tonight that it was.
Well, and I'll tell you what, I know Mike well enough to know that his team learned. You know, they cost them a victory. It cost them one on the L side, but they learned from Tuesday night what you'll have to do. Unfortunately for them, that loss did come in conference play, but they learned and they were able to step back up this evening and make that thing pay dividends for them. No one wants to lose at the buzzer, but tonight the Falcons were really the better team out on the floor.
Glendale 13 out of 17 from the line. Forbacher and Groh with 17 apiece. We'll be back to wrap this one up right after this. Thumbs up and high fives, the order of the night, as the Glendale Falcons send the crowd home happy. After a 53-45 win over the #1 team in the state, the Jefferson City Jays, and Tom, we're back right here next week.
Yeah, we'll be back here next Friday night. Going to be a good double-header night that night. It'll all start early with the Lady Falcons taking on the Lady Chiefs of Kickapoo, and then about 20 minutes after that one's concluded, it'll be the boys going at it, Falcons and Chiefs, in the first of what will be about a half dozen doubleheaders like that throughout the city this year. Should be a lot of fun, and we look forward to it. And, of course, a reminder to folks that a couple of weeks down the road, the 22nd, we'll bring you the third place and championship games of the Tournament of Champions, the Bass Pro Tournament of Champions, that will be played at Hammond Center. So a full month of basketball here on Telecable, and we're really excited about it. And this was a great one this evening, Steve.
It certainly was. Enjoyable working with you. Thanks to the guys back in the truck for keeping us on the air. And until next Friday, I'm Steve Barnes for Tom Mass saying good night from Glendale.